Laura, por tu presentación. Por experiencia personal sé que la tecnología que ustedes brindan es buenísima. Y a continuación lo vamos a escuchar a David Howe, que siempre impresiona con sus presentaciones y divierte. Muchas gracias.
All right, I think that's working now. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Is everyone happy to be here in Guatemala? Are you that sleepy? Okay, I'll ask again. Is everyone happy to be here in Guatemala? There you go. There you go. Thank you. That's a little better. You haven't had your coffee yet. So Aura speaks 4 languages. I only speak 2, English and technology. So you're going to have to bear with the English and the technology here. All right, so isn't this like a beautiful room? I don't think I've ever presented in a more beautiful space than this one. And we were sitting up here before we started, and Aura and I were speaking, and I was saying how like this chair is like really big, and it feels like sitting in a throne. And she says it's like, look around, it's like Game of Thrones. So really quickly, I put this together right before we started. So has anybody here heard me speak in Santiago or Panama City? Anybody? A handful, okay. Those of you may remember my family from those trips. I got to say, they could not come on this trip. You know, they can't get the kids out of school, but they do send their regards from New York to all of you. But in a way, my daughter was here last night, because last night, out in the courtyard right outside there, I was Skyping with her and reading her a bedtime story from the courtyard right outside this room. So thanks to mobile technology, in a way, my daughter was here with us just last evening. Now, if you're tweeting today, and you're more than welcome to tweet everything I'm talking about, this is my information. Please tweet away. Some of you who know me may realize that my job has changed since the last time you saw me. Most of you know me from my work at the Wall Street Journal, where I was the executive mobile editor, and I was their first mobile editor back in 2009, and I worked there in mobile for about 8 years. I am now the vice president and executive editor for Hearst Newspapers Digital. I've only been doing this job for a month. So afterwards, if you come up to me and ask for business cards or something, I don't have any. Not yet. I am currently overseeing Hearst digital platforms, audience growth, news innovation, transformation in newsrooms, getting newsrooms to think digital, to think mobile. I've been working in mobile for a very long time, and at the Journal, I created its mobile team, its family of apps, its tablet edition. I wrote a lot of algorithms for that, to power that, and I sort of had a lot to do with turning their newsroom into a mobile-focused newsroom. So I've done a lot of different things, but in case you're a reporter or you're an editor, I need to assure you that I have been a journalist for about 21 years now. And that's how I think of myself, as a journalist. That's the word that comes to mind. So as I talk to you, that's the perspective I bring to this. So here's the plan for the next 25 minutes or so. I'm going to talk to you about why mobile is important, because I know you've never heard this from anybody else ever before. And then I've got a dozen tips for you, 12 tips to help you transform your newsroom to think about mobile, to make mobile important. And these tips are in 3 different levels, because I know everyone's in a different place, but I'm going to talk about that. Then finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about emerging technology, sort of what are the new trends, what are the hot things that are coming down the road here. So first of all, I have a question for all of you. And if you heard me ask this question before at some other presentation, the answer has changed. All right? So, and I'm looking for people to hold up their hands so I can pick on you, because if you all shout it out, especially in Spanish, I'm going to have no idea what's going on. So, I want hands. Does anybody know how many mobile devices are in service in the world right now? And by mobile device, I mean not Wi-Fi, but something with a data plan, you know, a cell phone, a smartphone, e-reader, a tablet, something like that. Does anybody have a number? Can I see some hands? Anybody got a number? You can't be this shy in Guatemala. Nobody knows? You can guess. What was that? 4 billion. I hear 4 billion over there. Do I hear 5 or 6? Yeah. 5. Well, going once. Okay. Yeah, in the back. 20 billion. Do you work for the mobile industry? More or less. Okay. Well, he's very enthusiastic about it. So we had 5, we had 6. Is that it? What's that? 8. Oh, wow. Okay. So I like that one. The correct number is there are about 8 billion mobile devices in service right now. That means that on Earth, there are far more mobile devices than people. Does anybody here have more than one phone? Yes? Well, this is your fault. Now, it's been a long tradition of mine that whenever anyone answers this question correctly, I give them a prize. Now, for many years, my prize of choice has been the Angry Bird. Now, you know, I've been doing this for a long time, and the Angry Bird's starting to get a little old. So now I offer you a choice. Angry Bird or Pokeball? Angry Bird. Okay, you're going for the classic. Okay. Now, in either case, I have to throw this at you. So if you've got like water and stuff, you might want to like hold on to it. I'm going to try to do it from the stage, which is pretty dangerous. All right, you ready? I don't know if you want to stand up. I don't know. This is pretty far away. I'm going to risk embarrassing myself. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Almost. Good job, though. Congratulations. There are more prizes, so you're encouraged to participate. All right, so of all those mobile devices, about half of them are smartphones. And that number is expected to reach about 6 billion by 2020. In the United States, about 2/3 of all the digital time spent is with mobile. And most of that is with apps. And most of that is just a few apps. And most of that is Facebook. Now, of all the major news organizations in the world, the vast majority of them have more mobile traffic than desktop traffic. What this comes down to is that the battle for the future of news and information and media has been fought, and mobile won. This is not a debate. It's done. Guys, it's a mobile world. We just live in it. Now, this trend has created a lot of headlines. If you follow our industry, you see them all the time. You can't get away from mobile this, mobile that. This is great, because I have spent years trying to convince people that mobile is important. Now I don't have to do this anymore. because people get it. Mobile is important. But there's a different problem now. We all agree that mobile is important, but a lot of people don't really understand it in a fundamental way. I want to help all of you understand mobile in a really fundamental way. And if you saw me do this in Santiago, don't give it away. So, do me a favor, everybody. Take out your smartphone. I know there's a translation delay a little bit, but take out your phone. Everyone take out your phone. If you came all the way to Guatemala without a smartphone, you and I need to have a private conversation later. Okay, has everyone got their phone out? Yes? I'm listening? Yes? Okay, unlock your phone, and when your phone is unlocked, hold it up like this so I can see it. And keep them up. All right, everybody, I'm waiting for you. I got some grouchy people not participating over here. All right, everyone, pick your phone. Okay, oh, you guys look great. I gotta take a selfie. Hold on a second. This is all about. Keep your phones up. Hold on a second. All right, I got another one just for this. All right, ready? Here we go. There we go. Nice. You guys look like. Oh, keep them up. You look like protesters. All right, now with your unlocked smartphone, hand it to the person on your right. If there's nobody on your right, you can hand it to the person in front of you. All right. And remember to breathe. Take deep breaths. It'll be okay. You have to trust me. I've done this before. I'm a professional. Deep breaths. Okay. Does anybody feel a little uncomfortable? Does anybody feel a lot uncomfortable? All right. Good. Don't give the phone back yet. No. I didn't say you can give it back yet. All right, I'm glad you feel uncomfortable. I'm glad you feel uncomfortable. I came all the way to Guatemala just to make you feel this uncomfortable. Because that feeling you have right now, that's why mobile is important. Because that feeling is what it feels like to give your entire life to a stranger. Or maybe just a coworker you don't trust very much. Because we are our phones. Our phones are us. You know, our phones are our family, our friends, the work that we do, the games that we play, the places that we shop. There's never been a technology this intimate, this personal. So, for those, somebody couldn't hold off, they handed it back. Oh, I saw that. So those of us in the news business, when we send news to mobile, we're sending it directly into people's lives in a very personal way. And that's why it's so critically important that we get this right. All right, you can give the phone back. I hope you're all okay. This is just like the first session. You know, you got a long conference ahead of you. All right, so I got a dozen tips for you about how to make your newsroom, your news organization, more mobile. First of all, mobile-friendly web pages are a necessity. If your web page on a phone looks like this, you have a problem. You have a really big problem. You have a problem so big that I say you should just like leave Guatemala like right now and go fix it. I don't have to get to the other 11 tips. We stop right here. Go home, fix this problem, okay? Because if your website looks like this on a phone, not only are you behind, you're not even in the game. You're not even playing. It's critically important to fix this. Now, for many years, there's been this debate about, oh, should I have a mobile website or should I have an app? You know, for years, people have gone back and forth over the pros and cons. Well, I can tell you, from my perspective, it's already settled. And here's the answer. You need an app, too. You need both. Now, my perspective on this has changed it a little bit since I left the Wall Street Journal and I've gone to Hearst, because I am now working for a company that owns about 60 newspapers, regional, local newspapers. And the regional, local perspective is different than the national one. And I understand sort of the challenges here. But let me get rid of some myths. A lot of people think they can't have an app because it's too expensive. This is not true. It is very possible to have an app that does not cost that much, and it can be very decent. The biggest challenge, I think, for smaller news organizations with apps is having people know that they exist, is people discovering them. Now, if you work in broadcast, like on TV, you have an easier job because you can just put your app up on the screen and tell people to download it, and they'll download it. For newspapers, it's a little harder. But having an app is important because with apps come notifications, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But push alerts and notifications are absolutely critical to the future of news, to the present and future of news. People have an expectation that the news will come to them, that their pockets will vibrate and beep and stuff, and they will be told when important news happens. So you need an app. Number 3, the one-platform world is dead. I think most people get this now, but just in case, I'm going to say it again. We live in a world of many platforms, not just one. When you produce news, it goes to many places. Not just it goes to print, it goes to online, it goes to the web, it goes to smartphones, it goes to smart watches, it goes all over the place. And you have to think about your news production and news consumption from the very start as a multiple platform experience. If you think about just one, bad things happen because you wind up focusing on one platform and then things look bad across other platforms. In a way, this has to do with something that Aura was speaking about, and I often speak about as well. News is an experience. It's not just about information, it's an entire experience. And the device that you consume news on is part of the story. What it looks like on a phone, in a newspaper, on a tablet, it's all just as important as how the story is written or how the story is filmed on video. It's all keyed into that. Because we are in a battle for time. It's not about news organizations versus other news organizations, This is about news versus Netflix, and news versus, email, and news versus, Pokemon, things like that. We're fighting for people's time, and they're only going to devote a small amount of their time on these things to news. So unless your news experience on mobile is good, people will not go to you, and if it's bad, they will go away. For many years, my number one rule in mobile was do not annoy. Because it's so easy to piss people off on their phones. Has anyone here ever really been pissed off by something that happened on their phone? I would say, yeah, a couple people admit to it. It's still early. I'll get you. So it's really important that annoying things don't happen. The load time has to be good. The advertising can't be obnoxious and interruptive. You have to make things a good experience for people. All right, that's level 1. Now, the tips I'm giving you have 3 levels: level 1, level 2, and level 3, which is kind of beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I know you're all in different places, so I didn't want to scare anybody by going right to advanced. Some of you need level 1, some of you are on 2, some of you are on 3. So we're ready for level 2. Are you ready for level 2? Yes? Apparently, you're only happy to be in Guatemala. That's the only thing you answer to. Okay, I hope you're ready for level 2 because we're going to level up. All right, so now we are heading into level 2. Level 2, if a graphic doesn't work on a phone, it doesn't work. Period. I bet everyone has seen a graphic that looks really bad on a phone. You have to pinch and you have to zoom. It's not tailored for that device. This is really important because as mobile becomes the majority platform everywhere, if your graphic looks lousy on a phone, you're basically serving a horrible experience to most of your audience. So you need to make sure this works. This is hard. When I was at the Wall Street Journal, it took years to get this right, years. And just in the last couple years have we really started to figure this out, how you do this. There's all kinds of techniques that I'm more than happy to tell you about if you want to ask about them in the Q&A. But this is important, both for interactive graphics and for static graphics that you might see in the newspaper, like charts and things. All right, number 6. You've heard about mobile first, right? You've heard this term. It gets used a lot. What it really means is that you have to think about mobile from the very, very beginning of everything that you do. It can't be an afterthought. It can't be the thing that comes at the end. When mobile is an afterthought to your news process, bad things happen. Because you have this great news project you put together, and all these reporters and editors and graphic artists and photographers, and they all worked on it, and you spent hours and hours and all this money working on it, and then at the end, someone asks, oh, what does it look like on a phone? And you look at it on the phone, and it's horrible. It's crashing, the phone. It takes forever to load. It destroys people's data plans. You have to think about mobile from the very beginning of everything that you do. It should be the first topic in your meetings. What's our mobile plan? It shouldn't be the last topic. This is important. What can help you do this is having the right mobile team. I started at the Wall Street Journal as their only mobile editor. It was just me and a BlackBerry app and not much else going on. But I built a team of people over the 8 years I was there. Now, for many of you, maybe you have a mobile editor, but maybe your mobile editor is also your social editor, who is also your digital editor. That happens sometimes. But even though all digital is really about mobile now in a lot of ways, it still pays to have experts, people who know how to do this. And I can tell you, just owning a phone does not make you a mobile expert. All right? Now, if you need some tips on how to find these people, I wrote an article for the Poynter Institute a few years ago, and it's still online. 6 ways to be a good mobile editor. This will help you find those people. And they're out there now. 6 to 7 years ago, there were no mobile editors, maybe except for me, and you had to hire people who didn't really know anything about it. Now, there's a lot of mobile editors, experienced people that you can get, and it's important to have these people on your team. Okay, number 8. Another thing Aura was talking about as well. Mobile is social, social is mobile. Really, Facebook is a mobile company. The vast majority of the money it makes and the people that go to use Facebook are using it on smartphones. So whenever you think about mobile, you have to think about the social component. Whenever you do anything in social, you have to think about the mobile component. They go together. All right, I'm going to go to level 3. Don't be scared. But I have to prep you for level 3 first, okay? So I'm going to prepare you. This is a little glimpse of what's happening right now. News consumers are going mobile, no question. Not a debate. This is what's happening right now. It's not something we need to argue about. It's just reality. Mobile web news is all about articles. So on mobile, for the most part, people aren't going to home pages. They're going directly into articles, and they come there from search, from social, from sharing. They come in sideways. The mobile web is primarily an article experience. And what that means is that the web itself for news is evolving from this destination where you would go someplace to a conduit that sends news to other places, like to Facebook, like to, social media platforms, to Google search. So if people aren't using home pages as much anymore, where do the loyal, engaged people go? Well, in a lot of ways, apps are the new homepage. Because people who download apps are interested in your brand. They are committed to you. And they are far more engaged. They will consume a lot more content. They will read more stories, watch more videos, people on apps. What this means is that mobile web is high traffic, low engagement. For the most part. I mean, there's some variations, but this in general, high traffic, low engagement. Apps, though, are high engagement, lower traffic. So the magic formula that a lot of us are looking for is how do you get people from one place to the other one? Now, there's a technology solution for this that is in some debate right now called deep linking. And deep linking is about sending people from websites directly into apps. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to turn out because the big technology companies are not all in agreement about this. Apple likes deep linking because they want you in their app ecosystem. They want you to use apps. So sure, deep link. Facebook, on the other hand, has some mixed feelings about it because, they want you to stay in Facebook. They don't want you to go to a different app. They want you to stay in Facebook. So a web link will open up inside Facebook. Google is playing kind of both ways because they've got Google search on the web, but they've also got Android on Android phones. So they're kind of like in between. Now, I mentioned before that notifications are critical to the future of news. It's really, I can't really emphasize this enough. Push alerts and notifications are incredibly important. And the lock screen on your phone, those phones you were holding up a little while ago, that's a news platform unto itself. That sentence that you see, there is art and science that goes into just writing that sentence. What kind of tone does it have? How many characters do you use? What time do you send it? How many do you send per day? Do you send too many? Do you send too little? This is like a big deal, and it's not just something where you're just like, oh, let's send an alert. You know, this matters a lot. Overall, technology is becoming more personal, contextual, aware of behavior. It anticipates you. This is about when your toaster knows what news you need before you do. You know, you get in your car and it starts giving you the news that you didn't ask for. It's a little scary, but this is the reality of the world that we're moving into. And finally, the interfaces that we use are moving beyond screens to focus a lot on voice and conversation. You've seen like bots, right? Like these bots. This is like the very primitive kind of technology that's leading to news as a conversation, where you talk to your technology and your technology talks back to you. It's not just about it reading a story, it's you asking questions of it and it answering your questions like it's a person. It sounds like science fiction stuff, but it's really here. The early stages of it are here. All right. Now, I've given you a lot of background. Are you ready for level 3? Tres. See, that's about it for the Spanish. Are you ready? Yes? I don't know if you're ready. I can't tell. Yes? Oh, wow. There must be like a lot of jet lag in this room. All right. So, level 3. Newspapers may not be forever, but neither are news websites. This is often a very controversial statement in a lot of audiences. It may not mean what you think it means. So let me explain. So, I don't know if anyone thinks that newspapers are going to be with us forever, and they tend to be fading a bit, although in this part of the world they're doing better than in my part of the world. But print is definitely sort of under a lot of stress right now. But you got to think about this too. Websites are not new technology. They've been around for 20 years. And technology is changing very, very fast. So you remember what I said about how the web is evolving? Well, in a few years, websites may not be what you recognize now. They're changing. They're changing so much that you may not recognize them anymore. They're becoming, like I said, a conduit for information to platforms, to apps, to other places. Now, number 10. This one's really important. In the age of mobile, we are all wire services. This one is really important because for newspapers in particular, it's the hardest lesson to learn. Now, I was a wire service reporter for many years. I worked for the Associated Press and for Cox newspapers. And for me, writing stories fast, really, really fast, is normal, okay? Where I come from and my perspective is your deadline is always now. It's not 6 hours from now, it's not late at night. Deadlines are now. Because that's the world we live in. It was true for digital, but now it's even more true because of mobile. Because the news has to happen right away. When the news breaks, you have to send it out. You can't wait for the 700, 800, 1,200 word story that you're making perfect for the newspaper. The news has to get out fast. So you iterate. You send news out when it happens, and then you build on it, and you write more and more and more. And you just make it longer, and then you have the perfect, beautiful analysis version that goes into the newspaper. But you have to be fast. All right, number 11. So, For a few years, I've been working on this concept, and this is my concept, so you may not have heard about it, called dimensional storytelling. Now, to paraphrase a movie, we as journalists, our pattern indicates two-dimensional thinking. And I don't mean to say that our writing and our stories and our journalism is superficial. I mean this literally, that our journalism is two-dimensional. It is confined to flat surfaces, pieces of paper or a screen of some kind. Now, thanks to technology, we live in this place where we can go further than that. We can do more. Your phone has an accelerometer in it. It has a touch screen. It has all kinds of sensors. It has an awareness of location. We can create news and stories that go beyond just the flat surface. You can have interactive graphics that really involve touch. You can have things like virtual reality that involve, sort of looking around with your phone like this. There's movement. There's other dimensions to think about. Last tip. So, for a number of years, I've been thinking about that we as journalists lack a storytelling structure for mobile, a narrative structure. I'm not talking about user interface so much here. This is about writing, and it's about storytelling. So I've come up with something that I call the inverted iceberg. And you've heard about the inverted pyramid, which is like basic journalism stuff. Most important news at the top, less important further down. This is like that, but a little different. So an iceberg has a little bit on the surface, but most of it is below the water, right? And there's like this hard line that you can't see beneath the water. But an inverted iceberg is when an iceberg flips upside down, which happens once in a while. When an iceberg flips upside down, the top of it is really, really beautiful. It's like a jewel that's floating above the water. So this story form involves having a hard digital boundary between the top and the rest of it. That means like a journalist-chosen location where you tap for more information to expand the story. Now, you see this on a lot of websites and apps in a little bit. We're kind of getting to this, where it says read more or tap for more information. But that's imposed by the technology side. That's like a user design thing. I'm talking about a storytelling tool. The top of the story needs to be beautiful. Like leads and tops of stories have always been, it needs to draw people in. But even more so, every story that you write, I know it seems hard, especially if you're writing about something really dull, but try to make it good, because that's what brings people in. The rest of the story has a modular, linear structure that has compartments, that gives people off-ramps. Now, we know the truth is that people don't read all of the news that we create. They'll read as much as they want, and then they'll leave. This gives us an opportunity to have some control over that process, where you give people specific endings of when a story can end, and then they can leave. It's kind of like magazine writing. Now, this is not, you've heard about atomization and cards and other kind of mobile storytelling attempts. This is not that. This is something totally different. Now, you may ask me for examples of this, and I can't give you any because I haven't made one yet. I made this up, and it's all new. And before I was working on creating a real-world example of this, but then I left the Wall Street Journal and got a new job, and I haven't gotten back to it yet. But soon. And if you want to go for it and try to write a story this way, hey, call me up, we'll work on it. All right, I'm wrapping up here. This is kind of like what is really hot right now and what's in the future. I mentioned notifications, that the technology behind notifications are getting a lot smarter. Voice interaction, talking to your technology. Vertical video is a relatively new thing that's sort of taking off because, again, if this is the majority platform, then looking at video this way makes more sense. It used to be that was like the horrible thing you couldn't do, but now we've gone from this to this. Virtual reality. Still early stages, but last year was like a big year for virtual reality in news, and we're only going to go further out. There's a lot of storytelling possibilities. And finally, augmented reality, which in some ways has the potential to be even bigger than virtual reality, where this is where you overlay the real world with digital information. I discovered yesterday that there is an Antigua, Guatemala app that has augmented reality built in, so that as you wander around the town here, you can use augmented reality on your phone to sort of lead you to historical places and then look up the information about them. Now, I wanted to explain one more thing about augmented reality, but to do that, I need a volunteer to come up here with me. Now, you guys have been really quiet, so this might be a hard one, all right? But there is a prize involved that helps if you're envious of the man with the angry bird. So I do need somebody. Oh, I think someone is, against their will, someone is being volunteered. All right, come on up. All right, he's very brave. Come on, he needs your applause. All right, come on. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi. Otto?
Otto.
Otto.
Yeah.
Hey, where are you from?
From Guatemala?
Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't have to come far.
No.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, now, I'm going to have Otto, is it Otto or Otto?
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 You can say Otto.
Remember, just English and technology.
Okay.
All right? So, I'm going to show you the most popular form of augmented reality in the world. I'm sure some of you are familiar with this. I don't know if you are as well. So, the most popular form of augmented reality is called Pokemon Go. Have you played Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
He has. This should not be too hard for him. All right, so Pokemon Go and other kinds of augmented reality take advantage of this concept of layers. This is the concept I want you to have, layers. Look around you. There's actually layers of information, digital information everywhere, stacked on top of each other. You can only see it when you're looking through technology, but it's all there. All right, so all right, you guys in the front, need to be careful here. There's a hoot hoot. Okay? Oh, someone's getting like stepped on over there. You see this? Oh, that's got to hurt. All right, Otto, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Now he needs your support. Oh, look at that. Let's hear it for him. Okay? Come on, he needs your support. Woo, he did it. One throw. This guy's a master.
Yeah.
All right, Otto, I have a I have a Pokeball. Here you go, Otto. Thank you.
Draw me.
You want me to? Okay, go down. I'll
Yeah.
throw it to you. All right, go for it. All right. Right there? I don't want to hit the screen. That could be expensive. Okay? Are you ready? Yeah. You're ready. Okay. He got it in one throw. He's really good. All right? Ready? Okay, here you go. Pokemon. Here you go. Oh, that's my fault. Bad presenter. All right, but let's hear it for Otto for coming up here, all right? Thank you. All right, one last thought for you, and that is this. I hope you all come away with this. Mobile is not a mystery. I hear a lot of people say, oh, we have to experiment with this new mobile thing. It's not a new mobile thing. I was a mobile editor for 8 years. This is not new. It's been around. We have experience now. We know how to do this. So don't be afraid of it. You know, this is the future. This is the present. Mobile is the now. And we can do this, and I believe that all of you can do this too. All right, we're going to do some questions, but I will say thank you very much.
Por favor, si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, que levante la mano. Rafael.
Thank you both for great presentations. David, I think the mystery that you don't see in creating products and content on mobile is really on how to make money on mobile. When you have, you're a Hearst and you have big budgets and you have resources to develop, you can play around. But when you're in a small media organization, in a small country, the realities are different. I think that's where Aura comes in. So question for you is, how is Hearst looking to make money on mobile? Question for Aura is, display is obviously going down in terms of click-throughs and in terms of performance, right? So what other formats can media companies use, like branded, native, or rich media formats within the Marfil platform? Thank you.
All right. Am I still on here? Over here? Okay.
Yes.
So, you're right. Monetizing mobile, making money from mobile, very challenging, very difficult. Can it be done? Yes. You know how? Because Facebook can do it. They have vast scale, and they make a lot of money, mostly from mobile. Other people do too. I would not assume that news organizations, larger news organizations, have it easy. We're all struggling for resources. Everybody does. From the New York Times to the Wall Street Journal to Hearst, none of it is easy. From my experience, I can give you a couple tips about mobile monetization. First of all, banner ads at the bottom of mobile do not work very well. People tap on them by accident, they don't make a lot of money. Better to have ads in line with the content, flowing down the page. Display ads sometimes, but from my previous experience, a lot of the time, native advertising in mobile, inside, inline, works better than display advertising. It's going to vary on your audience. I do encourage, though, anyone who goes that route to clearly identify ads as ads. No question this is hard. No question about it. But it's sort of the reality that we have to navigate. And we're all trying to figure this out right now. I think through advertising, through subscription models as well, there are opportunities for mobile monetization, for making money on mobile web, on mobile apps. There's a balance to be struck there. I know there's been some experiments with micropayments for news. Haven't really gone too far with that. So at the moment, it's really about balancing your advertising and any kind of subscriptions if you use that. But I think there are examples of success. And it's not just that we have challenges, we also have necessity. We have to do it because this is where everybody's going. So I would encourage you to sort of experiment there and try those options and follow the leaders who are making it work. And I gave you a couple of things that I know that have worked better than others.
Bueno, ahora voy a hablar desde la perspectiva de Marfil. En Marfil consideramos, y así lo hemos demostrado, llevamos más de 6 años en la industria. Somos Google Certified Partners, Publishing Certified Partners. También somos socios de Google en móvil optimización y también somos socios tecnológicos de Google AMP y trabajamos de la mano de Google. Desde nuestra experiencia, y Google está con nosotros en esto, es que para monetizar mucho mejor en mobile tenéis que tener una experiencia de usuario completamente adaptada, ¿no? Y a través de este formato revista que proporcionamos a las publicaciones, ya solo con esto dobláis como mínimo las páginas vistas, con lo cual generáis muchas más impresiones, ¿no? Y al generar muchas más impresiones por página vista, podéis también adaptaros un poco, ¿no? Y bajar el número de impresiones por página vista, porque como ya les estamos doblando, podemos reducir este número de impresiones, ¿no? Con lo cual, adaptarte al usuario es clave en móvil, ¿no? Es lo que estaba explicando al final de la presentación, ¿no? Que cada tipología de usuario tiene un número adecuado de impresiones, unas marcas, y obviamente esto se tiene que hacer a través de programática. Y aquí tenéis mucho espacio para trabajar en ello, ¿no? Mi recomendación es que recopiléis todos vuestros datos que tenéis, ya sea ADEX, FP, cualquier ad server, y que analicéis esta información, ¿no? Se tiende a no hacerlo. Y si analizas la información, por ejemplo, nosotros tenemos ya un equipo de 10 analistas y matemáticos que están constantemente trabajando en generar estas dimensiones para mandar según el usuario en este clúster en concreto, ¿no? Y obviamente variar floor price, variar el número de impresiones. La verdad es que hay mucho juego aquí, es algo que es muy complejo, ¿no? Y quizá tomaríamos otra sesión solo para hablar de cómo mejorar esta programática, pero sí que tenéis que trabajar muy duro en un análisis muy extenso de vuestros datos históricos y automatizarlo todo, ¿no? Porque realmente es algo que no podemos hacer manual, ¿no? Y obviamente siempre a través de técnicas de machine learning ir mejorando. Y se puede y lo estamos logrando. Una de las últimas incorporaciones que hemos hecho, por ejemplo, desde Marfil, es colocar un mecanismo que lo hemos llamado sonar, que lo que hace es sondear el mejor floor price, ¿no? Mandamos 5% de la audiencia a otros floor price para validar si estamos enviando el tráfico y colocando el floor price adecuado, ¿no? No sé si esto responde a la pregunta, pero obviamente estoy abierta para hablar de todo esto durante este evento.
¿Alguien más tiene alguna otra pregunta? Entonces, damos por finalizado esta sesión. Sé que David y Aura se van a quedar con nosotros durante toda la conferencia, así que les pido por favor que se acerquen. Ambos son muy divertidos y es muy interesante charlar con ellos. Gracias.